Welcome back. So we're going to jump into chapter 3. We've already covered chapter 1 and chapter 2 of the thrilling Chronicles of Mayfield. We know that in chapter 1, Sarah is moving from San Francisco, California, her and her mom to Arkansas because her mom and her dad went through a divorce. And in chapter 2, Sarah had to start a new school, 7th grade, and so she only has one friend in 7th grade, and she was nervous about starting something new because she did not know what to expect. Now, we're going to jump into chapter 3 to see how that journey is going for Sarah. I will tell you something, guys. In chapter 3, she is going to meet a guy named Devin. Remember, as I gave you the summary of the story, Devin is the most popular guy in school, and he's actually an 8th grader. Remember, Sarah is in 7th grade. So we're going to see how it works out with her and Devin, if she even likes the guy or not. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump into chapter 3. Chapter 3. Outside of my first period exchange, my day was going pretty great. I guess it's because Cynthia is in my first 2 periods, and she's doing everything she can to make me comfortable on my first day of school. But I'm so hungry, I think, as I continue to look up at the clock and count the minutes until it's time for lunch. I missed breakfast this morning because I was so nervous. And my grandmother, poor grandmother, she got up and cooked me everything I liked, but I hid out until it was time for me to catch the bus. Man, am I regretting that decision. Ring! I catch everybody scattering towards the door, then to their lockers, and I quickly gather up my things, throw them in my locker, and rush to the cafeteria. I try to slow and wait for Cynthia because I don't want to sit along in the lunch line or sit along in the cafeteria. But she already had a place for me in line, and I hurried to join her. Sarah, she says, you have to come in here. Come get here. Quickly, because the 8th graders they are horrible. What do you mean? I asked. They come in here like they own the place, and then they make us go to the back of the line when they come in. So you have to get in the line so you don't have to get those lasty leftovers. She smiled, quickly turns, counting our line in our position in line. Sorry. We're good. She breathes a sigh of relief. Usually, if you get closer to the teacher on duty, you won't have to lose your spot. But it depends on the teacher, she says as she rolls her eyes. I laugh at her, and she turns back to me with the biggest smile. I'm glad that I have her as my best friend. Suddenly, I hear one of the kids from my 3rd period class mumble, I don't know who they think they are, or if they think they're more important than the rest of us. And when I turn around again, they were standing at least 10 students back, and these taller, louder, and like Cynthia says, selfish boys and some girls were standing there. Leaning into me, Cynthia whispers, when we become 8th graders, we're going to show the underclassmen what patience and leadership looks like. With a roaring rumble in my stomach and silence in my voice, I nod my head and agree. I'm glad you made it to the line first so we can eat and not starve to death like the other kids. We both laugh and we keep our eyes on the prize to being closer to the lunch ladies than the other students. Cynthia slightly turns. At least we beat the football players in here. I can't help myself, and I turn back and catch the eye of one of the 8th grade boys. He immediately notices me and bump his friend. Hey, that's a new girl. Say, hey, new girl, what's your name? He blurts out. I try my best to ignore him by turning around and looking at Cynthia like a lost child. She smiles and whispers, that's Devin, the most popular guy in here. I want to thank because he noticed me on my first day of school. I'm trying to keep my position and my composure in line. I try to sneak a peek again to see if he was still behind me, but I got more than what I bargained for. He was standing right under me, tapping me on the shoulder. Hey, maybe you didn't hear me. I said, what's your name, new girl? What's your name, new girl? He probably did that. He grins, revealing those dimples in his light brown skin. My eyes washed all over his face, and I noticed everything in the brief moment that I stare at him. He has hazel brown eyes and curly hair. I've only seen hair like that from the boys who were mixed with Mexican and black back home. He is truly dreamy, and I can't remember my name. Cynthia coming to my aid and tells him my name, and they both exchange this mean look at each other, but never say a word. He smiles at me, then he turned back at his friend in line, and they laugh and mock me for not being able to talk. I hear one of the boys say, bro, you did it again. You left the girl not able to talk. Man, Devin, you a mag. They all laugh at my expense, and I feel so embarrassed. I see Cynthia getting upset, so I tell her, I've always hated eating in front of boys, especially 8th graders. She agrees, and we start talking about the rest of our day. And as we made it to the front of the line, our facial expressions began to show our immediate disappointment, realizing that we're about to be eating what appears to be sloppy Joe. Why on earth are they still fixing these tasteless, disgusting, sloppy sandwiches? Cynthia adds as if she could do a better job than our school cooks. All I can think about was the fact that I'm too hungry to complain, and any lunch that's free is all right for me. I guess because Cynthia's mom pays $1.25 for her lunch to eat lunch, she feels as if she deserves better. On the other hand, I understand the importance of being grateful for little things such as a free lunch for $1.25. $1.25 for me means homemade peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for at least 4 days a week until my mom can get a job. It's been hard for us because my mom, she worked at a large bank in San Francisco, and I guess my father's income, we had more than enough. And I remember bringing cash to school to get whatever I wanted. So it felt a little weird not having money to buy what I wanted, and definitely not to have choices like I did back home. I smile at Cynthia's ranks and think to myself that she's lucky to have 2 parents that live in the same house. We found a table in the corner where Cynthia was used to sitting, and we began to eat. I look up, and here comes my cousin Frank and the 8th grade boy from the lunch line, Devin. Now, out of all the available seats in the cafeteria, they chose to sit directly beside us. I knew it was their plan, because look at those smiles on their face. It's just too big. I start to get very uncomfortable because Devin made me forget my name. Who does that? I began to become shy, and I start to pray that he didn't. Lord, please don't let him ask me my name again. Please, Lord. And as they're eating, Cynthia and I sit absolutely frozen, not wanting to take a chance on picking up our sloppy joe and spilling it over our clothes. But we are so hungry, so we slowly start to pick at our food. Why aren't you eating, Sarah? Frank asks as he chuckles to himself as if he didn't already know the answer. Oh, I'm not really hungry, and this meal is not my favorite, I respond while trying to be serious. Cynthia, what's your excuse? Devin asks, flashing his dimples. I'm still full from breakfast this morning, she responds. Cynthia and I attempt to have a conversation with Frank and Devin, but they were more focused on their food and ours too. Soon, my nerves got the best of me, and I'm ready to leave. All right, guys, we'll catch you later, she says as we leave the table and watch them devour our lunches. I say to Cynthia, girl, my grandma would kill me if she knew I missed lunch too. I know that's right. So would my mom. My mama, Sarah, Cynthia responds. We both look back one more time at the boys eating our food, and we hear our stomachs growling. We laugh and say, boys, as we head outside for the remainder of our lunch. The only thing I hate about it is middle school, that the recess area is all separated, so I'm not able to get another glance at Devin. He's so dreamy. Being outside in Arkansas is so weird because it's just hot and humid in August. I'm used to nicer temperatures and activities to do back in San Francisco. At my new school, all we do is just stand around and talk about each other and what we did over the summers as if it's a lot of choices. Cynthia is so excited that I'm here out of town, that I'm her out of town friend, and she drags me around showing me off like a prize. But I don't mind because it gives me a chance to meet new friends. So I smile at everyone she introduces me to. And as we're mingling and talking with the other kids outside, Cynthia and I, we on the side laughing and talking about what just took place in the cafeteria. Cynthia, girl, we can't fall off the bandwagon like that anymore. I say, so I'm wiping the tears from my face for laughing so hard. She responds, I know, girl, but your cousin, he is so handsome. Ugh, gross. I say as I make the ugliest faces I could. She laughs and tells me she thinks Devin is ugly. Cynthia, you only think he's ugly because he's your cousin, a girl says, but standing behind us. Cynthia turns and looks at the girl and responds, and I know he's my cousin, and he's ugly. She turns back. She turns her head back around, and I stare at her as if as if I didn't know her. He's your cousin? I ask. Yes, I told you that last summer. Remember? She says, blowing off my lack of knowledge about the cutest guy I've ever seen. I told you I had a cousin who was an absolute jerk, and that jerk is Devin. Trying to recall the conversation, I just decided to keep going on with our previous conversation. Cynthia, since when has a breakfast satisfied you for more than 2 hours? I asked, knowing that the both of us are heavy eaters and currently starving like Marvin. You know your cousin makes me nervous, and besides, that would have been tragic if those sloppy joes ended up in my lap. Don't you think? Cynthia responds. I picked at my sandwich and then snuck a few french fries before we left. I hope they didn't see me stuffing my face. We enjoyed the rest of our lunch break and managed to make some new friends, and I managed to make some new friends who are just as outgoing as Cynthia. I realized that despite my friends back in San Francisco, that I was enjoying my new life in Arkansas with new friends and a lot more family here. So, guys, that is chapter 3. She met Devin. She met some new friends. She was afraid to eat her lunch, thinking that the sloppy Joe would end up in their laps. That was funny. I can probably remember a situation before where I was afraid to eat because I was embarrassed or I was in front of someone that I liked, so I didn't want to take a chance on my food. Guys, if you like that story, feel free to reach out to me where you can continue to reminisce about it. I even have some cool writing prompts for each chapter. So this writing prompt is about chapter 3, meeting Devin, and how Sarah was nervous about eating her lunch. So for you, it would be describe how you would feel if you were in her shoes. So if you're interested in diving deeper, I have a writing prompt for each chapter. Just reach out to me, leave a comment below, and I'll be more than happy to email these writing prompts to you to get you started. So we've covered chapter 1, 2, and 3. Stay tuned for more videos because you will see the next video, chapter 4, uploaded pretty soon. And guys, we got to get through these 14 chapters so we can see. And I'm curious to see what you think about the thrilling Chronicles of Mayfield. All right, guys, I will see you soon on the next video.